Hey, good afternoon everyone, TractorMan44 here. Today we're going to see how well the OS27 Frontier with the standard, I think is a standard blade that came with it, how it handles white oak. I've got a 16-foot long piece of 16-inch diameter white oak. You know, we know how well it does in the softwoods, you know, the cedars and things like that and pines and stuff, but we're going to find out about oak today. That's a classic example of a beginner's mistake. I should have shimmed that up to where I would be concentrating more on the hardwood of what's going down the middle of it. I didn't do that, but it doesn't matter. It's not wasted. This was a log in the wood pile anyway for heating. So if I get a few boards out of it, it's good, you know. Because that's going to go in the slab pile. We're just going to saw that up for slab wood anyway. So. One thing I've noticed already about the OS27, you see how this little log stop back here is not up against the log? That's because I've bumped against it with this heavy log and actually knocked it off square. So I'll probably have to square that up before too long, but for now I'm going to go ahead and do it just like it is. These bunks are just drilled and tapped for threads, and you run these bolts in and there's no substantial meat there to actually hold those clamps tight. So what I'm going to do is go back and install locking nuts on the inside of the bunks to really tighten those supports vertically in the perfect 90-degree position. Well, we found out we can't crowd it too awful much. I didn't think I was crowding it that much. This isn't that tough of a push. And I thought I was maintaining about the right speed. But it sure pushed the blade right off the wheels. Well, I'm going to have to get creative on this one. Sorry guys, I thought it was going to take a bit longer of a time to get that out of there. But what I done, I run a wedge in underneath the board we're cutting and raised it up and was able to back the saw mill off of the blade at that particular point. So I'm just going to slide the blade out. I don't know if this is what you're supposed to do or not. I'm going to go get a different blade. I have to assume I was trying to force too much wood through the mill at a too high a rate. And I assume that pushed the blade backwards against the guide the rear guide and then allowed it to start running crooked, which caused it to run quickly off the back of the wheel. That's what I think. Yeah, it's a good idea to wear gloves. Definitely off the rear guides, which is what you have to be. So everything is correct and it's ready to go. My guess is there's probably a better choice for a higher quality blade, a different number of teeth per inch, different type of blade for the hardwoods. That's what I kind of strongly suspect. Haven't done my research. That's my fault. Clearly there's something wrong. I'm doing something wrong because I definitely was not crowding at that time, and I had the guides where they needed to be and only made one or maybe 1.5 passes and threw another blade. That's kind of concerning me. I don't know what to say, guys. It's got to be operator error. It's either operator error or the improper blade for the material. This blade didn't look to be, the blade didn't look too awful damaged, but I'm noticing how dull the teeth are. The tips of every one of the teeth are shiny, and it did not go, you know, a revolution grinding against metal. This wood is dulling those blades. I believe I got the improper blade for the application. Okay guys, so here's the deal. I made those last two cuts completely with the damaged blade that had at least one or two teeth knocked off of it, and virtually 90% of the rest of the teeth around are already shiny on the ends, meaning that they're getting dull, and they're getting dull because of this hard wood. So the two things that I've decided is I think I've got the improper blade for the materials, and I think my feed rate was too high because these last two with the damaged blade didn't have a problem. It was just very slow going. That's why I fast forwarded the video. But I slowed the feed rate pretty much. So I think if I get the right type of tooth, the right type of blade, probably a more expensive blade obviously, and the right teeth per inch for the right material, and then slow my feed rate, I think I'll have much greater success. I checked all the normal things that you have to check. The tracking on the blade, there's nothing wrong with the tracking. I also checked the guide adjustment to make sure that the guides weren't pinching on it too tight and wasn't rubbing on it from the back side. There has to be clearance all the way around and a specific dimension, and I've got those correct, and I got the tension correct too. So that having been said, is a learning afternoon. Cost me a little bit of time and aggravation changing out the blades. That's 16 foot of full 1.5 inch material, and it's a shame that I'm going to use it for this, but it's for nothing other than decking material on one of the gooseneck trailers. So like I said, at least it was a fun afternoon. Still learning a little bit about the Frontier sawmill. Bandsaws are entirely different than circle mills. Boy, and just handling these logs is just so phenomenally different, and in many ways much more difficult than on a circle mill. So you know what, this has been a learning experience. Hope y'all learned something too. Don't crowd these machines when you're sawing hardwoods. And you know what, this is Tractor Man 44, and I'm out of here, guys.